produces a division between black men and black women that is going to contribute significantly to, if you want to call it, genocide of black people. In other words, if you heighten the alienation between black men and black women,
it's harder to organize.
Right. It will. In other words, we talk about unity at a political organization level as being one kind of unity, but there is another kind of unity that is much more fundamental, and that is the unity within the family unit itself. And we have been denied the opportunity to really have functioning family unit.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on? First and foremost, like we do always, all praises, honor, and glory goes to the Most High, the creator of all things. Second off, thank you everybody who supported. Thank you everybody who supported. You know, whether it was a like, share, subscribe, even a view, I appreciate it. Of course, you know, if anybody tune in, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's on the early side over here, you know, just chilling. Get up early, you know. I've been getting up early for a few months now. I find my life more purposeful, and getting more done, going to sleep early and getting up early, as I said before. I'm probably getting to bed probably about 9 p.m. and getting up at like 3, sometimes even 2 in the morning. Most of the time 2. I get up at 2, you know. But I get a lot done, man. I get a lot done. It's a very disciplined life. Best change I done made, you know what I'm saying? But man. It's real early here. What time is it? It's 6:46, so it's not even 7 o'clock. But I had some things on my mind. Also, built in with a little testimony, you know what I'm saying? I try to give people testimonies to make, these conversations more relative, you know what I'm saying? Because I know somebody out there going through it, you know. A lot of people not willing to put their situations on blast like I am, so I'll be the sacrificial lamb for the sake of the testimony. But yeah, man, I had this on my mind: co-parenting versus family structure. Co-parenting versus family structure, right? So a lot of people I see. Family is not like a lot of people are not really sticking to the family structure no more, right? A lot of people are more so settling for the co-parenting route. Excuse my voice, man. It's like the rainy season. My nose all messed up, my throat all messed up. So yeah, a lot of people are kind of settling for the co-parenting route, which whatever you decide to do is on you. A lot of people, make decisions later on with a significant other. You might have been romantically involved at first and you have a child together. So in the process, you might find that, it can be a stressful situation, maybe things are not working out, whatever the case may be. You decide to separate and you decide to create a situation where you raising children in 2 separate homes. And I wanted to speak on that today and give my own personal situation. Of course, I'm married with 3 children with my wife, 3 boys. But this is a story that I never really shared before, I have an older son. And yeah, he's my oldest. I had him when I was 26 years old, actually. So I went through a difficult time, man, a difficult situation. And I have myself to blame. Of course, I love my son. I wouldn't have it any other way as far as, him being my son or coming into this world. But I will say the way I did it, it kind of it hinders me to this day. You know, of course, not having the relationship that I want with him. Of course, he's in America. I was dealing with a young lady. You know, I was young at the time also, and I would say that situation was started off of a very lustful situation. Of course, we built, a rapport, talking. Actually, we were doing like a long distance kind of thing. If you know, I'm from Michigan. She's from Ohio. So I would be back and forth from Ohio. You know, I went to school in Cleveland, job corps situation and all that. But yeah, man, I was talking to a young lady, she was from Ohio. So when me and her, every now and again we would do, I would come visit her, you know what I'm saying? So we had a romantic situation, long distance, very short lived. But yeah, irresponsibly, I got this woman pregnant. Got her pregnant, and what eventually happened when I got her pregnant, the responsible thing that I knew at that time was to drop everything, quit my job, and move down there, and be there for my child. This is my first son, my oldest son, being 25 years old at the time, I believe. This was 2013 actually. So yeah. So I was there, while she was pregnant, decided to quit my job, ended up doing that, moving down there. And we were dealing with a lot of, I would say, domestic violence situations. Not really physically, but verbally. So, and this is what my first, unequally yoked. Make sure you're equally yoked and sexually disciplined. And this is why I'm going into this story. But yeah, so me and this young lady, we were having sexual, activities very early on. That whole situation was built off of lust, which a lot of situations are built off of lust in today's generation. And we're bringing children into this world, but we're unequally yoked, meaning we're on two totally different paths, two totally different ideologies, and it causes friction. And in that friction, it leaves children with as the detriment. They coming into a situation where they don't have the resources, meaning their father or their mother. They're not coming into a safe, structured family. So you have a co-parent situation, and that's if you can get that. So yeah, so prior to him being born, I seen a lot of disrespect. I dealt with a lot of disrespect. And I would say to some degree, to the majority of the degree, it's my fault because I knew better. Actually, I had to learn a lot going through life. As a young man trying to figure things out. Not gonna make no excuses, but yeah. So this young lady, she dealt with her own, mental issues, and it was a lot of disrespect going on. Me as a man at that time, it was the last straw. I remember, of course there was always, how women try to size you up. Oh, you doing this, or you ain't that, you ain't this. Putting that finger in your face. So yeah, I dealt with a lot of that, man, and I felt myself on the edge. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to stay and work this out for my son, because of course I was from Michigan, she was from Ohio, so about 4 hours away. At the time, I didn't even have a car. I just had a job and a place to stay. I had no reason to be having no children at that time. So yeah, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a purpose. I was just, yeah, I was. And at the time, my head was lost, man. My head was in the clouds for this girl. That whole "oh, I love her" type of deal. You know how you get that "oh, I love her." Can't nobody tell me Can't nobody tell me nothing about her. I seen all the red flags, still ignored them, you know. But anyway, yeah, she ended up pregnant, man. And I would go down there a couple months here, a couple months there. But yeah, I decided to move down there, try to do the responsible thing that I thought was at that time, you know, with her being pregnant. So dealt with a lot of disrespect, a lot of close calls, you know, her, you know, trying to put her hands on me, you know what I'm saying? So it was the last straw for me when we got into it. She would like push me to the point of anger, you know what I'm saying? And when that side came out of me, it's like she was satisfied with it, you know. I'm not gonna get too deep into, you know, her mental status at that time, but yeah, man, she would test me and push me. So one time, you know, she put her hands on me, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say put her hands on, that made me sound like a victim or something. But yeah, man, she put her hands on me twice, and I reacted, like put her up against the wall. And she was like, you know, she was like excited about it. You get what I'm saying? And not only that, she grabbed some scissors. So I'm like, oh, nah, this ain't a safe situation. I'm gonna end up hurting this girl, or she gonna end up hurting me, or it's just not gonna end bad. It's not gonna end good. Sorry. So what I did was, at that time, man, I don't think I even had no money. I was down, broke, bad. I had some glasses. I think I had some Ray-Bans, some Dre Beat headphones. Man, I walked to the Greyhound station, man. I walked to the Greyhound station, and I sold everything I had and got a ticket and got up out of there. Literally walked miles to the Greyhound station. I was like, man, this ain't the way to be living. I was turning to alcohol, you know what I'm saying, trying to deal with this girl. But yeah, man, I walked to the Greyhound station. I got the first thing smoking up out of there. I'm like, I'm done, you know. She texts me like, yeah, I'm cooking this for the night, you know. She just totally ignored what just happened. And it's like, you know, I'm cooking for the night, you know, expecting me to come back. I don't even think I even texted back. I was like, man, I'm out. I'm done with it. But, yeah, man, so, of course, you know, we talked again because, you know, she had my baby. Actually, it was about a week later that she would be having my child. And, you know, I kind of regret leaving at that moment, but I knew that was the only way to go because it was getting bad. It was getting real bad. So I wasn't actually present for the birth of my child. My first child, mind you. So I did come right after he was born, got to hold him. And I still was going through the whole disrespect thing, man. The whole disrespect thing. I'm, you know, coming time after time down there to spend time with my child, holding them. But I would notice a lot of things, like I would take pictures with them and try to post them. She was like, no, I'll take that down. You know, this, that, and the third. This ain't a video to expose her, by the way. I'm exposing how you can make situations, you can make decisions, not so wise decisions, you know, based off of sexual, not being sexually disciplined, you know, and creating lives, which a lot of us have done, and we're bringing children in unequally yoked situations, and it's leaving them in this world to fend for themselves. Now, I've never been a deadbeat. I've never been a person to, you know, leave my child out there. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna kind of fast forward. Yeah, but anyway, she got into a situation. When, you know, I would go see my son, you know, but I was talking to her one day, and she mentioned that, what's her name? Some guy bought him some shoes. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, he bought her some shoes. You know, she used to play like little games, so I ain't take it serious. But she told me, like, she would keep saying this dude's name, but fast forward, man, she had a guy in her life. So this guy in her life was around my son. So I would be like, all right, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Mind you, I forgot to mention that she had 2 other children before me. That's another thing. You know, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, that's another unwise decision that I made, you know, red flag. But anyway, yeah, this was a new guy. He came around, and she was kind of like having him around my child. So I noticed when she had him around, she would tell me like, hey, she would get mad and say certain things like, "Oh, he ain't even yours." So after a couple times, I'm like, "Hey, that's all I need to hear." You know what I'm saying? And plus, I was kind of like alarmed that this guy will be around so fast. You know, my son was probably about 2 years old. I mean, not 2 years old, 2 months old. You know, I would come see him, and yeah, so yeah, this guy will be around, and she told me like he not yours. So I'm like, all right, whatever. We cut ties. You know, of course, I was offended by the guy being around anyway. You know, so I kind of questioned paternity at that time. Uh, but I remember maybe about a year later, uh, the guy used to contact me. You know, he told me like, yeah, she coming for you, bro. She coming for you. She want child support. So I would get letters. I would get letters as far as a proposal for a DNA. Uh, yeah, so I end up taking a DNA test, and I end up finding out that he was mine. Uh, so once I find out he's mine, I'm trying to, you know, make amends with her and get some type of clear mutual understanding so I can be in his life and create a, you know, a middle ground so we can raise him. I can be, you know, a father to him. But lo and behold, she wasn't being quite you know, understanding, might I say. She was making it very difficult. But I would notice when her and dude would kind of like be on bad terms, she would allow me, you know, oh, come. So me, I've never been very comfortable with going to court. You know, I had bad experiences being young, getting in trouble, going to court. But one thing I can't say, I should have took the initiative early. But yeah, so find out he mine. You know, I'm trying to going in and out with her. Like, man, oh, I need to come see my son. 1 minute she'll be good. Next minute we're, you know, it was just on and off, man. Very unstable situation. I found myself actually talking to him. You know, me and him would talk. I would have to talk to him to find out situations through her. You know, I never really had a stable number for her at that time. You know, of course I had moved on. She had been moved on. You know, but yeah. So I get a letter one day, right? I get a letter about my son being taken by the CPS. So I'm getting all these letters. Immediately, I'm trying to contact this girl. You know, can't reach her. You know, so my only outlet was Facebook. I reach him. So I say, hey, bro, I'm getting this. I'm getting these letters from CPS that my child is in neglect situations where the home don't have food, or you know, there's, you know, it's not suitable for a child to be in. So he told me like, yeah, man, it ain't that big. You know, the water was out, something like that, and they end up taking him. So there was a court date. So I immediately, I was with my wife at the time. I'm kind of fast forwarding. So me and my wife, and actually my mom, had a little red car at the time. I packed them up, and we drive down there, you know, because I'm trying to, at this point, I'm like, man, I'm trying to get custody of my child. So take that route. And I go to the court, and so in the court, they're going over, you know, of course the negligent behavior that she did, and I'm talking to my lawyer. He's telling me like, hey, you know, you should just be patient because I've seen this happen many times. She's gonna do this again, and he was rightfully so. He was right. He was right. But at that time, I remember they said in court, her lawyer was like, Your Honor, he hasn't seen the child since he was a baby. And I was like, huh? I was like, I got pictures. I was just here. You know, I had brought him some clothes, all that, you know. And she would make things very difficult, but I didn't want to get into that. I really wanted to stick to the point while I'm telling this story. But yeah, man, I fought to get him, man. I fought. I went through. They actually gave me an interview. This was around like COVID time. Fast forward, because I fast forwarded through a lot of stuff, because this is over the years, me trying to have a relationship with him. But fast forwarded, yeah, I tried to get custody of him. actually you would have to go through the CPS in Michigan. So I had to have like a virtual, like a Zoom kind of, I forgot what it was called, where they have to see your home. They have to do background checks. They have to see your, your job, vehicle, all these different things. So I checked out A+ on everything. The CPS guy, his name was Mike, actually. Pretty cool dude, man. He told me, he said, man, I don't know why you don't have your son. You have everything in line. You have a home. You have a vehicle, And I even said, hey, I would even meet her halfway. I would bring him halfway or even to Ohio because I want him to see his mother. I don't want to just cut him off from his family. So meanwhile, I'm talking to the worker every day. I'm talking to her, and so at the time, my son had been taken and put into her brother temporary custody, and I always wondered, and I used to ask, like, well, why can't he come in my custody? Which didn't make sense to me. And I remember because me and my son, we used to talk. I used to call him every day. Used to call him every day on the phone. But until one day, the phone stopped working or I was blocked. So I told the worker, I'm like, hey, I have a great suspicion that she blocked me on the phone because this was a common thing that she would do but she blocked me on his phone. So the worker laughed. Right hand to, I'm not going to swear, but honestly, she blocked me on his phone and I told the worker and this lady laughed. I don't know why she laughed to this day, but it was very cringing. My wife was there actually, and we both was like, okay, that's weird. But yeah, so what had happened was my son was supposed to be in his uncle's possession. But what had happened was she violated those terms and she had my son, at her house. So what they did was they found out that. So now we're back in court again. At this time, you couldn't go to physical court. You had to have court on the phone. So I'm in there once again, at this time, she had a baby by the previous dude that I was telling you about, that I will be in contact with, that she dealt with after me. So this guy, he had a baby with her at this time, and she ended up losing custody of that. So she lost custody of her previous 2 children, my son and his child. So his mother, I think he was in jail at the time. His mother was on the Zoom call. You had the judge and you had the lawyer. And I had mentioned, like, well, because they kept giving her, chances, like she had to take the qualifications for her to get her children back was she was supposed to take some type of classes and pass drug tests. So at that time, I believe she had failed the drug test and didn't complete the classes, but the judge still allowed her to get the children back. And I got so frustrated, I ain't gonna lie. I said it in a Zoom call. I said, hey, y'all keep giving this girl chance after chance. When am I gonna get my first chance? Even joint or something, you know what I'm saying? Because everything was so difficult around that time because the whole COVID thing, everything was being pushed back, you know what I'm saying? And I think honestly, I could have took better initiative earlier to get these things done because everything was, it was pretty frustrating seeing my son in that situation. But, yeah, man, I say this story to say, because I still, in the last, I say about a couple, not even, probably 2 years ago was the last time I fought and I tried to get my son, and it was to no avail. At that time, her mother was trying to go against me to get custody of him. And their whole thing was that we don't want to take him from a familiar environment and put him in an unfamiliar environment, because I always went to go see him. And that always frustrated me because I had no prior, crazy criminal history. I had a job I could provide. I even had a room for him, And even the CPS guy from Michigan had wrote them like, hey, this guy needs to have his son. He qualifies. But, Ohio was like, nah. But yeah, man, very frustrating. But I say this to say this, man, fellas, watch who you lay down and put your seed in. Be careful, because you will go through this situation, and your children, you will not have parental authority over them, and that's the most frustrating thing I've ever dealt with in my life by far. And I've seen a lot in my life, but that was by far the most difficult thing. But yeah, I'm sorry to be long with it, but I just had to tell that story. But yeah, number one, always be sexually disciplined. You know, sex ain't just for you to you shouldn't be laying your thing anywhere, everywhere, you know. And it don't even take that. It can just take one time, you know, with the wrong person. The red flags. Make sure this woman is. Make sure, number one, make sure you have a plan in life. Make sure you have a purpose in life. I'm speaking to the young men, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of men destroy their lives, or they destroy their children's lives by bringing them in the world into unequally yoked situations. Especially in America, where you don't have the power or the authority as a father, because the system, they, of course, like we all know, their whole plan is to destroy black African American families, number one. And I've seen it firsthand, you know. I've seen it from the judges, the lawyers, I've seen it from the workers and the CPS. They all work together. So this young lady, I had no business even, I didn't, you know, a lot of times we having children with these women, and women are having children with these men, and we just don't even connect morally. Everything is all physical. Oh, I like how you look, you like how I look, let's get it. That's all it be. So I brung a child in this world, and it eats me up to this day that I don't have, I can't even contact them. You know what I'm saying? And of course, years have gone by, and you know, I still try different things. But of course, I'm in another country. But yeah, man, I pray that I can fix that situation. But yeah, so yeah, co-parenting versus family structure. Now, some people are in situations where they can co-parent. You have your household, she has her household, but still, let's say, for example, it's the holiday season, right? Let's say, hey, I don't want to celebrate Christmas, or I don't want my son eating pork. The mother of the child, she wants him to do that. She wants him to celebrate Christmas. She wants him to eat pork, everything. You disagree. What parental authority do you have to tell her no? Again, let me ask you again. What parental authority do you have to tell her no? Also, how do you think that's going to work out in the court when you tell them, hey, I don't want my son doing A, B, and C? Because they say everything is 50-50, right? Which is a lie, you know. It's a lie, you know. It's more so predicated to give the woman more authority, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it is what it is. But that's why I say, when you have a child or you decide to deal with a woman, make sure you have a plan, number one, before she even come in the picture. Make sure you have a plan, and make sure you have a purpose. And make sure you're disciplined. And after that, if you meet a young lady, make sure you rightfully vet her, you know what I'm saying, and court her. You get what I'm saying? All this dating and all that, that's a no good. Make sure you court the young lady, you know what I'm saying? Make sure she's good. Make sure she's willing to follow you in your plan and your purpose. I know in our society, nowadays, the women are more so independent, and they're kind of on their own kind of program. But when you're dealing with a wife or a potential woman that you can have children with in the future, she has to be on your program. She has to be on your program. What's your program? Oh, I don't want my son to do this. I want to raise my son to believe in this. That's your program. That's what you establish in your household. Co-parenting, you don't have that benefit to do that. They make the rules. I done seen videos where men You know, they had to go get their son from the certain schools, or even the women were dressing them up as little girls. I done seen Caucasian people go through this. You know, the man trying to fight for custody because the woman is dressing his son up as a little girl. Man, that's why I say, man, co-parenting versus family structure. Because if you brought them in a family structure, she would be on your program and she would be more invested in a family foundation, which benefits not only her, but you and the child. She's giving you the parental authority. The system won't, 9 times out of 10, they won't give you as a man the parental authority. She, the woman, in an American society, you have to find a woman that understands that. So my advice, make sure make sure this woman has a family structure example before you even decide to even bring children in the world with her. Because if she doesn't know what that looks like, you're going to be trying to figure it out the whole time. Luckily, I have a wife now, and, you know, I didn't see that family structure coming up, but, you know, my wife didn't either. But I did have my father. But she didn't have her father. So the whole time we were trying to figure things out. But humbly, my wife always respected me to be that decision maker, and we've thugged it out. You know, almost 10 years now. All praise to the Most High for that. But yeah, just looking back on all the decisions I made, man, I try to be a testimony and give young men advice. You know, and yeah, it's just not a good situation, man. Number one, land with somebody, just, you know, laid up with somebody bringing a child in the world is harmful, man. It's harmful. It's not something you want to do. But yeah, make sure she's on your program, because as a father, you must be that structure. A lot of times when you take the father out the home, you take away the discipline of the child, correcting the child, the structure. A lot of men, we bring structure in the home, which we're supposed to. Women are more like nurturing. So especially with young boys, and for young women, a lot of them, they don't have their fathers around. They might seek attention. I think for a father, of course the protection, but the attention for a young girl is important. I don't have daughters, so I'm not gonna get too deep in that on something that I don't know. But from what I do know, a lot of women that I've been involved with in my life, that's they seek the attention. A lot of them didn't have fathers in their home, fortunately. But yeah, for young men, imagine. Let me give you an example, right? Imagine you raising a child, right? You're co-parenting. You're in this household, she's in that household with your children. She gets a new boyfriend. And men are very territorial, and women are very, when she's dealing with a new man, he has to say so. So this man is making decisions for your child. How does that make you feel? It don't matter. But that's why I say you gotta be wise, man. You gotta be wise, because co-parenting is not the same as being an actual father in the home. It will never. I don't care how much you try to argue it. It'll never be the same. I done seen brothers die inside, man, and I done died inside. Because of that, man. Not being able to raise your son the way, and I'm with my children. I have 3 other boys, so I have 4 boys in total. But I'm with my boys every day. I was with them every day of their lives. I, pulled them out of their mom. You know what I'm saying? Every step of the way. So it breaks my heart, man. Even telling y'all this story, it saddens me that I've been through that. So I try to warn young men, like I say, have a plan, have a purpose. So when a young lady comes into your life that you find, that you've courted, or you might find worth being a wife, she has to be on your program once again. Yeah, man, the father brings the structure. The father brings the program. I took my children to go see Mufasa. was a very good movie. You know, we always watch lion documentaries because I try to, you know, let them understand lions are kind of like the closest animals to humans. So yeah, we watched Mufasa, but it was showing like it does in a documentary. Um, a male lion will be over the pride. You know, his job is to protect and, you know, mate with the women and bring forth children. So a lot of times in these prides, you have the alpha male who has many lionesses. So if another lion comes along and challenges this male lion and end up, let's say, hurting him or chasing him off or putting him to death, because these lions will fight to the death. Um, let's say he kills that lion. You know what he would do to them children? He will kill those lions. It's nature. It's natural. It is what it is. The lion will literally kill those lions. And we always promote this culture of stepdaddy, which I'm not mad at. But you never hear the stories of, you know, the abuse, the molestation. Even on a stepdaddy behalf, you never hear how hard it is, how difficult it is to get respect in the home from the children, from the mother, not being able to discipline the children. But I'm just walking you through a lot of complications and difficulties that comes with broken families. So, let's say a situation happens where, I mentioned this before, let's say somebody puts their hand on your child, right? The stepfather. You no questions asked. You going over there and you laying hands on people, right? Somebody can get hurt, wow. Yeah, but so many things come from these broken families. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But yeah, it's so many broken families. His baby mama over there with her. She got a baby daddy over there. Her baby daddy with this dude, baby mama. Like, it's an adulterous generation. So I'm saying the best way to bring children into this world is in a family structure, a foundation of of responsibility. A lot of people think marriage is all, you know, lovey-dovey, romance flick. But no, it's responsibility, it's compromise, it's sacrifice. Do you think it's been all good being a father or being a husband? No. It's times you want to leave. It's days you wake up like, I don't want to deal with this person. And that's normal. But the society or the culture we live in, you know, we don't support marriages or family no more. Your family will celebrate, you know, your woman leaving or your wife leaving you. They'll throw divorce parties because they secretly shame marriage nowadays. And that's crazy or controversial to say, but it's true. So it's like you're on your own. So you have to really have your system intact. And you have to really be disciplined in holding down that system. Every day, I have to install the law in my home. Of course, my foundation is the Bible. I stick to that. You know, you have the Most High, you have Christ, husband, wife, children. I stick by that. I stand on that because anytime I've went outside of that, it hasn't been right. But yeah, man, all you young men, that's all I wanted to tell y'all today. Parenting, co-parenting versus family structure. Which one you think? You know, and to all my brothers out there who doing co-parenting, there's no disrespect to you. I'm just putting some truth out there. I'm sure a lot of us that do in those situations, we would probably have preferred to be in the home raising our children, right? But yeah, man, I hope this hits somebody and it's a good testimony that somebody can learn from, you know. But yeah, man, Pilgrims in the Earth, y'all like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Fathers are often driven away so that mother and children can eat.
85% of the head of household is a woman because most of the men who should be in the household, they cannot make a decent living. And of course it is better to know that a child will be fed 12 months out of the year than 3 months, which during the summer when construction work you can make a decent living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance, and thus the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children.
The welfare system helps the disintegration of the American family. It offers money to families if the fathers will leave them and stay away, in that sense undoing the very stability of the family and taking away one of the two parents the children, of course, need. And what I have seen, I'm afraid to say, all over the country is that the legal system works against the best kind of home for these children. We don't encourage parents to be at home with the children. We don't encourage mothers to feel that they can find their destiny as mothers. We take away, in many of the most vulnerable homes, fathers from those homes. We herd foster children together in institutions rather than trying to find decent homes for them. We don't tap the resources we have in communities and with respect to older people so that they can help out vulnerable homes. We don't sanction and encourage and support in every way, morally, psychologically, and financially, the dignity and integrity of the home. And in the worst of it is that the homes that are most vulnerable are the homes that are least supported by the policies of local, state, and federal governments. And no wonder then, out of these more vulnerable neighborhoods, we get an endless cycle of troubled, delinquent, wayward youth who grow up even more and become the lawbreakers of our society. Now, I don't know how you break this cycle except by starting out with young children.